everyone. We're going to go from talking about going to first base to landing a home run and getting a job. Not too bad, right? Maybe getting a different job if you're already full-time employed and want to maybe pivot careers once you enhance your education. I'm Laura Aiken, and I'm one of the graduate career advisors here at Bentley. And I'm a double Falcon. Does anybody know what that means? Oh, I got a little applause. Who knows what it means? Go ahead.
When you went to undergraduate.
Yes, I completed my undergrad in managerial economics and a minor in Spanish, and my MBA here from Bentley as well. So I'm so happy to be able to be here to now get to know all of you and your aspirations. After I completed my undergrad and grad degree, I actually went on full-time to work in various corporate positions, including working at Travelers Insurance as an account executive and underwriter, and then also working as a client relations director at Bright Horizons, which is a company that focuses on childcare, but I worked in an education management arm of the business. So I had a pretty dynamic and diverse perspective to come and bring to students. I realized over time that I wasn't really maximizing my strengths. And as I got to know a little bit more about myself and how I wanted to contribute, I realized that I wanted to give back as my alma mater, come back to Bentley. So now I've been here full time for almost a year. So I look forward to going through with you what we have to offer in career services, and then I'll open it up for questions at the end. So we'll be talking about our team. It's not just myself, I also have fantastic colleagues who you'll get to know. We'll talk about our beliefs and commitment to you within our department. We'll talk about our strengths-based coaching and career development approach, which not all universities have, so I can tell you you've landed at the right place. Because we want to get to know what makes you unique, and we want to help you own that to really land the right job for you, or internship. We'll talk about Graduate Career Development Intensive Course, also known as GCDI. We'll talk about resources available to you and ways to stay connected. Our team. So again, I'm Laura Aiken, and the programs that I specifically focus on, since the model that we have in our office is that we are separated by programs. So I work specifically with the MSBAs, MSIT or MSDI, Digital Innovation, and MSMA Population, both full-time and part-time. How many fit into that group? Yay! We're getting to know you all. Lucy Amello, who is my lovely colleague over on the far right, on the top. She works with all of our MBAs, full-time and part-time. If you're pursuing an MS MBA, she also will be your main go-to. And she also works with the MS HFID students as well. How many of you fit into those categories? Excellent. You're getting to know Lucy, and she's amazing. She also comes from a corporate background, previously working at Deloitte. And she's been here for a few years now and is great, so we really enjoy getting to know her as well. Audra Bonney, who's right below me, right next to her name. She works with all of our accounting folks, finance, financial planning, and taxation. Again, both full-time and part-time. How many of you fall in this category? Nice. And then we have Kim Andrews. So she's actually one of our career coaches, and she teaches our GCDI course, which again I'll tell you a little bit more about. And she runs a lot of our seminars. She has experience working at John Hancock as well as other corporate positions, and she has a very unique perspective to offer all of you in various series and courses throughout your time here. And then Anna is our Executive Administrative Coordinator, and you'll see her every time you come into our office, or oftentimes if you give us a call, you'll hear from her first. Our commitment to you. We provide tools to build your competence. We build programs to help you find your confidence. That doesn't happen overnight, right? Some of us are more confident than others. Some of us are really trying to work on honing in on our strengths, and that's something we work with you closely on. We have events to build your involvement in this community. And I can't encourage you enough, which we'll get into in a little bit more detail, to take advantage of all of the events that are offered. We spend a lot of time, and we actually survey our students as well to determine what events do you want. And then we build a curriculum based upon everything you want. We find alumni who are excited to come back. We find professionals who have been hiring on campus and talent acquisition and senior leaders, and we coordinate all these events for you. So take advantage of all of it. We create learning opportunities to build your curiosity. And we want that to go beyond the hard skills that you are gaining in all of your amazing coursework. We want that to extend to some of the softer skills that help you be a well-rounded professional to land the most ideal job for you. Now, what do we expect of you? Use the tools. We're going to talk about some websites, some other ways to access events that we expect you to use and really maximize in order to know what's going on and stay on top of what we have to offer. We want you to participate in our programs. Again, we spend a lot of time creating things that work and what our students want. So we want participation. And we want you to register and attend for the events. The motto that we have is become the CEO of your life. How many of you like that motto? Yeah, all of you shove your hands up. Be the CEO of your life, right? Own the whole process. So it starts by making the decision to, hey, go back to school or continue your education. You're owning being the CEO of your life right now, being here, sitting in these seats. Gives me the goosebumps because I remember being here, just like all of you starting my MBA. We want to keep that momentum going. Just because you're focused on a degree in financial planning doesn't mean that there's just one path for you. You're going to have to investigate where you can be the best fit, where you can really shine, where you can bring your unique talents to that organization, and you need to sell yourself into that role. And you need to own that whole process. And we believe that the foundation to success, which I just alluded to, is getting to know your strengths, which we'll talk a little bit more about. So getting to know your strengths. This will help you in so many ways, but I'm focusing on two key aspects right now. In an interview, the ability to explain yourself, your style, and how you benefit from working with teams. Each and every one of you are going to work in various team projects while you're here at Bentley. It's just what we're known for, collaboration in everything you do. And in all the work you eventually do or may be doing now in your profession, guaranteed there's collaboration involved. But how you do that work and effectively communicate to one another and get to a result is different for every single one of you. And the reason why is because you have unique strengths that no one has in the same exact order, that show up in the same way. But do you know what those are? Everybody in this group in an interview can talk about, I've done a big project where I collaborated with a team of 5. Every single one of you are going to be able to say that. But what can you say about how you worked with that group? About what your role was in that group? And how you directly impact the result? These are aspects that really can be enhanced by understanding who you are. Developing interpersonal skills with your teams. In the 2 companies that I worked at previously, we got to know each other's strengths. I had a whole strengths grid, so I knew, and even actually I should say my 3rd company, because here as well, we also know our strengths. As a team, we all know what strengths all of us have, and that helps us work really effectively together. How many of you are already familiar with StrengthsFinder? A couple folks? Okay. So for those of you who aren't as familiar, we're talking a little bit more about it, but there are many organizations, not just universities, who are adopting the StrengthsFinder approach. So it really creates an opportunity for you to get to know how to work with others, what people to partner with to really successfully get to the end of the project. For instance, I'm futuristic. That's one of my top 5 strengths. So I love coming up with ideas and solutions and ways to think differently about how to get to a result. But I like generating the ideas. I like getting the ball rolling. I really like working with people who are in kind of more adaptability, which is another key strength, where they're in the present moment and they like to bring ideas to life right in that moment. We play really well off each other because I'm coming up with ideas about the future and they're saying, hey, well, how can we implement that today? We have an event coming up today. How can we impact that? Instead of just thinking 6 months out, year out, 3 years out, which I'm always going there. And then we like to work with an activator. What do you think an activator does? active. They start getting things moving. They start getting us all on the track to get things done. If you don't have these key folks in a role, you're not going to get to that end result. If we have everyone who's in that futuristic mode, like myself, we'll just be coming up with ideas all day long. Won't get anything done, right? So you have to think about those other folks you work with and how you tackle projects to get things done. So that's another way it can really be effective. So let's think a little bit more about your talents and some of these subtle things that you might think, this isn't that big of a deal, this is just who I am. But it's actually something you can really hone in on and capitalize on. So we're going to stand up a little bit. So if this sounds like you, just go ahead and stand up. Stand up if you always talk to people in elevators, airplanes, grocery stores, and wherever you go. You really just like to talk to others. Yes. Anybody else? Don't be ashamed. If you like to talk, I'm one of these people too. I stand up when this question comes up. Yes. Awesome. Go ahead and sit down. So that oftentimes is referred to as liking to win over others sometimes, or maybe even relating, liking to get to know other people's story and relating to different people. There's a few different strengths that really taps into. Stand up if you always have a color-coded closet, or otherwise very organized closet. Very nice, very nice. I need you to come over to my closet, organize it for me. Very nice, very nice. How many of you have the hangers hanging the same direction? Very impressive, very impressive. Oh, and more coming up. Nice. How many of you are color-coded in there as well? Oh, all right, nice. I'm very impressed by this. This is a true talent. That I'm not joking. As we get to know all of you, any of my MSBA, MAers that can come, we can talk more. Love to have some help in my closet. Stand up if you always are energized by intellectual ideas or discussions. Nice. Nice. You're in the right place. You're going to enjoy a lot of good case studies, especially for many of the MBAers. Awesome. Go ahead and take a seat. That doesn't surprise me. I think that's really awesome that so many of you stood up for that because you want to educate yourself more, right? It's a great place to do it. Stand up if you always make a list of things to do on the weekends. Yeah, it feels good, right? Drop off dry cleaning, check. Get groceries, check. It feels good just to check it off the list. That's great. Go ahead. So far many of these strengths are actually something that in a group project. How wonderful. You have someone who can organize closets, so hey, they're probably pretty organized as far as managing the team's needs, right? And then who's checking off the list, making sure, but did we get it done? You gotta organize it, but are we getting it done? Right? We have our folks who are checking off everything on the list on the weekends. They'll help carry that through. Stand up if you always have a backup plan in case something goes wrong. Nice, yeah, of course, of course. Nice. Go ahead and take a seat. And when I did this presentation in the fall for the group that started in the fall, 90% of the group stood up for this one. I was really taken back. That was a big one for the group in the fall, who you'll be intermingling in class with soon. Stand up if you always get so in the zone that you don't hear people when they're talking to you. You're really in it. You're in that moment. Yeah? Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's a talent. That's a talent. And that could fall into a couple different categories within StrengthsFinder, which incorporates over 30 key strengths, but often focus is how it's described. So if you have someone who has focus on your team, when they're given a task, they may even close the door and say, I have business to take care of. And they're really focused in and get things done. Stand up if you always need someone to race while driving. Go ahead, don't be ashamed, don't be ashamed. Maybe it's on the treadmill. When you're running on the treadmill, the person next to you, you keep picking it up. No? Really? I'm shocked. No competitive folks in here? I'm sure you're competitive, but maybe not in that way. Wow, nobody. That's interesting. This often falls into more of that competitive zone, where you really want to be the best. How many of you ask too many questions? Nice. Yeah, stand up to that. I stand up to this one too. I ask a lot of questions. That's great. And often for those of us who ask a lot of questions, that creates opportunities to find opportunities to enhance how you work on a project and effectively move forward, because you might identify different problems and ideas. And you also want to get to know something very intimately. So some of these key aspects that you stood up for, they might seem like something that's just ingrained. That's just who I am. By taking that feeling of, oh, this is just who I am, and feeling as if this is something that is a strength. This is something that if I really focus in on other aspects of my life, I can become exceptional at. And suddenly it's very natural for that to overlay into your career and be exceptional at your career as well. So people who focus on developing their talents are able to maximize their potential. People who learn to use their strengths every day have a 7.8% greater productivity, quoted by Gallup. I should preface that, especially because I'm after academic integrity. So Gallup is actually who came up with StrengthsFinder, and that's who I'm in the process of finalizing my certification with, but I am a formal coach with them. But this is some of what their statistics show. And it helps teams who receive strengths feedback have an 8.9% greater profitability. So the teams that I was referring to, I used to work with, the idea was that we actually had more profit because we were able to work effectively together. We got projects done faster, more efficiently, and it created results for the business. And the reason why I want to really focus on that is because this all is really important when you think about the value you can bring to an employer. Employers are very familiar with strengths model, and by talking about some of these strengths and even saying, at Bentley University, they focus on strengths-based coaching, and it's really helped me realize whatever it might be, there's value in that. And it's something that I want to let you know sets us apart from other universities. Not everyone takes this approach. So where do you go from here? It's important to investigate your strengths, and the best way to do it is to register for GCDI, Graduate Career Development Intensive course. There is a course that will be available that I'll talk about momentarily in more detail, but it is available this spring. And through this course, as the first assignment, you will get an email to take an assessment and complete your top 5, and outside of that, you'll get your top 5 strengths at the end of the assessment. And I want to let you know, everyone here on campus has also completed their strengths, including AJ, who put together this fantastic seminar and everything for all of you. So we on campus truly believe in this. We don't think it's just for our students. We, in turn, also believe in this philosophy. Any questions before I move into a little bit more about the course and some of our resources? Alrighty, so a little bit more about this GCDI course. It's actually referred to as GCDI 501 once you look for it in the registrar. It's 6 weeks long, and so it's pretty fast-paced. It kind of comes in and comes out. It's pretty fast. It's offered this spring in person, and we will have an online version available in the summer, but that is only for part-time students. How many part-timers do we have in the room? Okay. So we do have an online course that will be available late spring, early summer. That will be the best course for you. For all of you who are full-time here, we would expect you to go to this class that is going to be offered through January 29th for 6 weeks from 11 to 12:30. Again, that's on January 29th from 11 to 12:30. And Kim Andrews will be the career coach who will be teaching this particular seminar. You can register via MyBentley, just as you did with all of your other courses. And good news, no cost to you. It's a free course. And upon completion, this isn't a satisfactory or unsatisfactory course. It actually opens up the opportunity for 30-minute sessions with your career coach. If you do not complete this course as a full-time student, the only opportunities you'll have to meet with your career advisor are 10-minute sessions, so pretty quick drop-in time frames. But we believe if you invest in yourself, we'll spend more time investing in you too. So you complete this course, you show us your interest in wanting to go into the process of learning more about yourself, fine-tune your resume in addition to a few other key topics, then we want to spend more time together. We know you need business. So that's the main value we have to offer by completing that course. So a little bit more about the course. Again, it's strengths-based. You'll learn how to articulate experiences, skills, and talk about those strengths in 2 key ways, in writing and in person. The value of being able to complete it in writing is because you all need a resume, right? Yeah, how many of you already have a resume? Yeah, everyone should, especially in high school, right? You need your resume. How many of you feel amazing about your resume? It's killer. It's killer. Nice, all right. Nice. But for some of you, it's good enough. Well, good enough isn't good enough for some employers, right? We want to really make it excellent so that when you submit it for jobs, you feel confident every time. And then you also get callbacks for interviews. We also want to focus on telling your story in person. Where do you think that could be valuable? Where do you need to tell your story in person? In an interview, yes. Where else?
The bar.
The bar! Yes! There's all different types of stories.
Any coffee shop, we can meet them.
Yes, that is true. You never know who you might meet when you're out and about. What about career fairs? Yeah, we offer those in Bentley. Yep, you want to be able to tell your story. What about informational interviews? Those are opportunities for you to talk with employers and talk to other professionals or talk to alumni who maybe you bump into at a bar, right? Oh, you went to Bentley, I'm going there now, right? And suddenly they're like, oh, well, what program are you in? Oh, what are you looking to do when you graduate? Got to be ready for it, right? You got to be ready to jump in and tell your story. So at the end of the 6 weeks, you will leave with a resume that you feel is amazing. So all of you will be raising your hands, and just a handful of you you'll feel is great. You'll work on cover letters so that you'll be able to fine-tune really how to approach the cover letter process, right? How to make it unique and stand out every time. You'll update your LinkedIn profile or create your profile if you haven't created it. How many of you have a LinkedIn profile? How many of you feel amazing about it? We've got some common folks that like it. But there's still an opportunity, right, to make it even better. So that's something we'll focus on as well. We'll talk about building that elevator pitch, which, as we talked about, can be addressed in various different formats. We'll talk about informational interview practice skills, which never gets old. This is one of the key topics that many students here want to keep learning about. How to approach those conversations, how to reach out to alum, when to pester them when they haven't responded on LinkedIn or they haven't responded to an email, right? All of those kind of softer skills, trying to figure out how to best communicate. We'll talk about all of that. We'll also talk about information on tools to apply for internships and full-time jobs. So many places out there to apply to jobs now, right? It can get a little wild, a little crazy, stressful. We want to reduce that stress and let you know key places to look to really optimize your time. So that's something we'll talk about in the course as well. And at the end of the day, we want you to be more confident about managing your career. Like home run, we want to take you to the home run. We want you to feel really, really good about it. So how many of you are going to register for GCDI? Every single hand up. I'm not kidding, every single hand up. GCDI. What about part-timers, when it's available, online? Yes, yes, yes. We want you to take this, okay? This is a really key opportunity for you that very few universities offer. I'm part of a consortium here locally of other business schools, and we always talk about curriculum, things we have going, and the main thing I hear from other career services offices locally is, oh wow, you have a 6-week course? How did you manage that? I can't believe you can offer that to students. They do not offer it. This is for you, it's built into your tuition, it's not an additional cost, but the value is huge. So let's talk about some of our resources. A few things that we'll be offering this spring, and again, this is just a sampling, there's a lot more that's going to be happening. We'll have resume review days that will start the beginning of February, although you can always come in during drop-in hours as well, which are 10-minute sessions to come to see your advisor. But during those resume review days, that typically happens right before the career fair, which is going to be mid-February, and then there's a graduate school career fair at the end of February as well. So we want to be sure you feel pretty good about your resume going in, so you can come during those review days. We have advisor drop-in hours, so that's again an opportunity for 10-minute appointments with your advisor. We are in the process of bringing various employers on campus for what we refer to as career communities, which are opportunities for you to hear directly from alum or key employers on topics that they feel are valuable to share with you. So it could even be something like we offered in the fall, where we brought in students who have graduated with their degree, their MSBA, and are now in data science roles. So they wanted to talk to students about what they're doing now, how they got these jobs, what tools they thought were most effective to become familiar with during their education here, that type of thing. We also have had alumni and other professionals come and talk about the importance of finding a mentor in your full-time role and the value of that, and how to find a mentor and a sponsor. We've also had a lot of topics for those of you who are international and here for the first time in the United States, which how many is that the case for? First time in the United States? Handful? Nice. Welcome, welcome. So for those of you who are in a new environment, trying to become familiar with what's available, we also work with CISS, who I believe you already heard from, and they, in addition to ourselves, will talk about the internship process, and then we'll even bring in students and graduates who have gone through various and unique processes to plan internships and jobs. There's one other thing I was going to mention. The fair, that's for graduate students only. I want you to mark your calendars right now. It's February 27th. And you'll be receiving more information about this as well. But this, again, is not something all universities offer. Okay, so February 27th, there's a graduate school only fair. It's going to be right down the hall from here in our executive dining room. It's smaller, it's more intimate. It's an opportunity where we reach one-on-one to employers and say, which key jobs are you looking to fill with Bentley students? Come on campus. Okay, so be sure to mark your calendar. And then free resources that are really important to take note of include Big Interview to prepare for those online interviews, which most of you will have experience in at some point in your time here, because this is a new growing trend for employers to have first look at potential candidates instead of meeting people in person all the time, which is the reality of technology these days. So Big Interview is a huge resource for you to take advantage of. Going global, for those of you who are looking into jobs maybe back to your home country or abroad. And Vault is also a tremendous resource that's free in addition to more to help you examine what's next for you in your career path. You will be getting an email regarding Bentley Link. I want you to remember Bentley Link specifically. You have My Bentley where you register for courses. Then Bentley Link is where you will look up events that are happening in career services. This is where you will request to meet with your career advisor once you complete GCDI. And this is where you will see jobs that are posted for Bentley students. Okay, we have our own portal just to post jobs for Bentley students. So be on the lookout for that Bentley link, and then that will open you up to more information about that. So what's next? I'd love to meet those of you who are in the programs that I'm working with. You're welcome to come by and see me during my drop-in hours up here. Lucy's drop-in hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays in the afternoon. Audra's are Monday and Wednesday at various times here. You're welcome to take a picture of this as well if you'd like. And come by and introduce yourself. Just drop by, say hello. You don't even need to have a big agenda to discuss, but just come by and introduce yourself. We would love to meet you. And then be sure to follow us, Bentley University Graduate Career Services on Facebook. For those of you who have a WeChat account, we also have a WeChat account, which is Bentley GCS. And download Simplicity Jobs app, which is the Bentley link that you'll be getting an email regarding shortly. It's the app that gets you access to that so that you can continue to see events that we're hosting and check out jobs and opportunities as well. And that's a wrap. Any questions before I pass it on? Go ahead in the back.
You spoke about GCDI. What is it with your undergraduate? I took CDI for undergrad. Is that transferable graduate?
So you'll still want to take GCDI. Some of the content is similar, but it has a graduate school angle. We focus more on growth mindset and resiliency, which is something that's a little bit more mature for graduate students. And we focus on a graduate resume format, which is a little bit different as well. So it's definitely worth taking at the graduate level. Go ahead.
What if you're a full-time student, but your current work schedule doesn't allow you to take the GCDI course?
You can email me about that, we can discuss that.
I have a class on Tuesday, every Tuesday. So the DCDA is completed with the class schedule. So what can you do?
You can send me an email about that as well. Yeah, we want as many students to take the course this spring, but we will have a second course that will be in fall. Generally, we open that up to new students in the fall, and they have to be quick, but we can talk about exceptions for those of you who this not being an option for you. Okay, just send me an email. Go ahead.
I walked in late, so my beer got a bit.
No problem.
But if I enrolled as a part-time student this semester, could I have the option to go to full-time next semester? Okay.
Yes. All right, well, thank you guys so much. Good luck with classes tomorrow, and it was so nice to meet all of you.